This question asks us to trace out a picture of what the indifference curves are going to look like given these preference relations. Okay? So we've bundled D, A, G, E, B, C, and F. And we have these preference relations, and we want to get an idea of what the indifference curves are going to look like. So the first thing to do, you have to kind of build this up bit by bit, is find a starting point. I think this is a good starting point. This tells us that D is strictly compared to G. D is better than G. You get more utility from having D than G. That means that D has to be on a higher indifference curve than G. Higher indifference curves meaning further up this way, away from the origin. Okay? So that's the first thing we know. These next two allow us to draw on our first indifference curve. Well, if D is better than G, and A is at least as good as G, well, that means that by transitivity, D has to be better than G as well. So D, this one here, is going to be a higher indifference curve than these two. Okay? So that gives us our first real kind of useful result, that D has to be higher on a higher indifference curve than A and G. Combining that with the fact that E is better than F, so this is better than this, and that B is at least as good as E, so these two have to be on the same indifference curve, we can start drawing them in. So D is better than G, which is at least as good as A. Which is as good as A. So that means that the indifference curve that goes through D, something like that, is going to be higher than the indifference curve that goes through these two. It's going to look something like that. If you're a better drawer than I, you can make them nice curvy lines all the way down. We also know that E is better than F, so this is better than this, and B is the same, gives the same level of utility as E. So this and this have to be on the same indifference curve, which is higher than the one that this goes through. So you can draw this in. And finally, we know that where we got C is at least as good as F. Sorry, C is as good as F. So C and F have to lie on the same indifference curve. Okay? So just building it up bit by bit from the preference relations we're given, you get an indifference map to this. D is strictly preferred to G. That means D has to be a higher curve than G. A is indifferent to G, so that means bundle A and G have to be on the same indifference curve. Bundle A is strictly preferred to bundle F. That means that A has to lie on a higher indifference curve than F. E is better than F. E has to be on a higher indifference curve than F. B and E have to be on the same curve. C and F have to be on the same curve too.